Hello, everybody. It's me, Jason McIntyre. That's Geoff Schwartz. We are coming to you live on Talk the Line, the Q&A edition. Folks, we're going to get to 60 questions in 60 minutes or die trying. And we also have a Facebook group, so you know we're official. So Geoff and I want you to jump into the Facebook group tonight and just tell us how you're going to spend all your winnings after we impart a lot of gambling knowledge on you. Let's get to question number one, shall we? Dave C., which game has seen the most line movement this week? We got an odds maker to tell you that right now.
So when we talk about the line movement, we have to talk about the Ravens and the Colts. The Ravens opened 3.5-point favorites when the line opened on Sunday, but due to some COVID news, meaning they would miss some defensive starters, the line actually moved all the way out to them being an underdog of 1 point. Now, if this had stuck, they would have been an underdog for the first time this season, being favored in every single game. But news on Saturday broke that Patrick Queen would be activated off the COVID list, meaning they would have their Defensive Rookie of the Year candidate, and they're now back to favorite.
All right, so Geoff, I have liked the Colts in this spot all week. I'm going to give out a winner here 2 minutes into the show. Colts first half. Okay, here's why, Geoff. In every game this year that the Steelers have played, Pittsburgh Steelers, their opponent the following week has come out sluggish. Pittsburgh beats you up in the trenches at the line of scrimmage, and Pittsburgh's opponent the following week has been down 7 points or more at halftime. So I like the Colts in the first half, and I took them full game as well.
Yeah, this line has even gone out to Indy -2 now on Fox Bet. And to remind you, Ravens left tackle Ronnie Stanley out for this game, out for the season. Big difference in that offense now. They lost 2 offensive linemen off that great offensive line in 2019.
Yeah, we both really love this game, but let's get to the next question. 60 in 60 minutes, folks. Richard P., are there any special offers this weekend? Mr. Oddsmaker?
Here at Fox Bet, we've got some great offers for you this NFL Sunday. And let's start with Patrick Mahomes and Russell Wilson. You can get 5 times your money if they can each throw 3 touchdown passes. Now, you'll remember last week, Patrick Mahomes, 5 touchdown passes in his win over the Jets. And Russell Wilson had 4 of his own in an impressive win over the Niners. But we don't need 5. We don't even need 4. All you need is 3 touchdowns from each of them to turn $10 into $50.
Geoff, I don't know. Fox Bet going with the 2 best quarterbacks in the league, the MVP leaders. Do you have a feel on this offer? Did it feel like a layup to you?
I'd take this offer. Look, Russell Wilson's playing against a really bad Buffalo Bills defense, especially pass defense. And remember, the Chiefs generate passing touchdowns on some of those little fly sweep things where Mahomes just throws the ball forward a little bit. So you get cheap touchdowns with Pat Mahomes.
Cheap touchdowns. Okay, I'll take any touchdown, Geoff. Come on. All right, next question. All right, Randy W., which teams are seeing the most public action this weekend? And our odds maker has that answer.
Money is coming in thick and fast for these 3 teams. We're going to start with Baltimore. Customers are taking a rare opportunity to get the Ravens at close to evens, and customers really think that that is good value. Next, we've got the Chiefs. They take on the Panthers, who should have Christian McCaffrey back to help them, but customers clearly don't think that that's going to be enough to keep up with the Mahomes offense. And finally, we've got Seattle. They take on the Bills, Josh Allen versus Russell Wilson in a shootout, and customers clearly think that the MVP favorite, Russell Wilson, will be able to get it done.
Now, that's interesting. Geoff, I'll let you fire here first. Any thoughts on the public sides this weekend? Maybe explain to the audience what the heck that means.
Yeah, so the public side is where all the public money is coming in on, which is typically the opposite of where the sharp money comes in on. So typically you want to avoid betting public sides if possible, but there's a lot of public sides that me and you like this week. So we'll talk about that throughout the show.
Yeah, I don't know. Just be careful, folks. Okay, if it ever feels too good to be true, whether it's in house hunting, car shopping, a girl you meet at a bar, it usually is too good to be true. So just be careful when you hear the public loves Seattle. Well, they love them for a reason. All right, let's get to the next question. Up to number 4. Which line do you like most this weekend? Geoff, you're the former NFL player. I'll let you first off the tee.
Well, we just talked about Seattle being a public play. I love Seattle this weekend at -3. I mean, look, their offense has not been stopped this season. They're great in this Eastern time zone as well, right? So you combine those together with the Bills not being very good on defense. Their offense hasn't played very well. I love Seattle here. Have to keep pace in the NFC West as well.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Geoff. I do agree that is an interesting bet, but I'm going to go with my favorite bet with the Indianapolis Colts. Yes, the Colts facing the Ravens. I know it's a tough spot. I'm betting on Eberflus this weekend, the defensive coordinator of the Colts. Guys, if you remember 2 years ago, The Colts went to Kansas City. The Colts play a lot of zone defense. What does Pat Mahomes do? He kills the zone defense, okay? So what did the Indianapolis Colts do? They went man-to-man, and Mahomes was rattled. The pass rush got to him, and the Colts pulled a stunning upset as double-digit underdogs. Well, same scenarios unfolding here. Lamar Jackson, very good against the zone, but he has not excelled under pressure this year. I expect a heavy defensive pass rush, just like the Steelers, forced 4 Lamar turnovers last week. Geoff, I know it's a bit of a risky play, but I'm going with the Indianapolis Colts as my biggest like this weekend. All right, let's get to number 5. David S., do the Bills cover against the Seahawks, or should I take Seattle on the money line? Geoff, we know what you're doing right here.
You take Seattle laying the points, the 3 points too. They can win by more than a field goal, I think. I think they win by a touchdown or maybe even 10 points in this game. So I would take Seattle money line, take a -3, whatever you want to do. Do not take the Bills.
Okay, we now have a big injury to talk about with Dr. Matt Provencher.
So Bills quarterback Josh Allen has been dealing with a shoulder injury to his non-throwing shoulder since he injured it week 4. This was an AC joint sprain, and although it's his non-throwing shoulder, we still see a decline based on our data of about 10 to 20% in overall performance. We can expect Josh to be about the same where he's been the last 2 weeks, but not as good as he was in the beginning of the season. And so overall decline of about 10 to 20% in overall performance numbers. Josh, good luck this weekend.
Now, folks, that's really interesting stuff. Dr. Matt's going to be with us all season. I would suggest rewinding that because what I'm about to tell you is significant. Josh Allen, last 2 weeks, 0 touchdown passes. Since that injury, okay, Buffalo Bills 0-4 against the spread. Josh Allen has gone from MVP candidate to kind of an average, below average quarterback. I would be very careful backing the Buffalo Bills going forward. All right, next up, Geoff, we have a Seattle Joe B. Ryan Tannehill has been hot and cold lately. Does he throw over under the 237.5-yard prop against this Bears defense?
I would take the under here. He was under this the last 2 weeks. Their left tackle, Taylor Lewan, is out. You don't have backup left tackles. Now you look at this great Bears defense, I should say, that we know can rush the passer and stop the pass. I'd go under here.
Yeah, it's difficult. 237.5 yards. You can't just look at what Tannehill's done, right, Geoff? That's like the amateur analysis. Oh, well, Tannehill threw for 300. He should make it. No, you need to look at the individual matchup. And the Bears right now, they're hurting defensively. They're really hurting in the middle. Their safeties missed some practice this week. Tannehill kills teams with the play action, right? They freeze the linebackers and safeties with Derrick Henry, and Tannehill goes over the top to A.J. Brown. I would look at the over here. I don't love it, but I like the over on Tannehill, 237.5. All right, next question. Geoff, we're making good time, by the way. All right, Rachel P. Love the Broncos comeback last weekend against the Chargers. Any chance they walk out of the ATL with back-to-back W's, or should I take the points?
I would take the points here with the Broncos. Look, Atlanta very easily could be 3-0 under Raheem Morris, if not for Todd Gurley falling in the end zone when he shouldn't have. They have 10 days, right? They played on Thursday night. And I think the points here is a great value. You get Denver plus 4.5, plus 4, I should say. I don't know if I trust the Falcons in any situation, but I would not take the Broncos to win this game straight up.
Okay, yeah, I'm with you, Geoff. The Atlanta Falcons, when they're favored, right? Favored to win the game. Everybody, they go in having to beat the opponent by 3, 4, 7 points. Okay. They're 0-4 against the spread this year. They don't cover as favorites. They just don't. They never meet expectations when they're favored. And I think you've got to go with the Broncos. By the way, I just gave that Atlanta stat. Denver, when they come into a game as an underdog, not expected to win, 5-2 against the spread. They love that underdog role, that mentality that, nobody thinks we're going to win. All the analysts are picking Atlanta. We got to come through. I like Denver. I'm with you, Geoff. All right, question number 8. Devontae L. Texans -7. Will they win by 7 or more? Lock or not? Geoff, everybody has seen The Wizard of Oz, right?
Yes.
Dorothy, there's no place like home. There's no place like home. Geoff, let's say it together. There's no such thing as a lock in the NFL. It does not exist. Geoff, tell the people it does not exist.
It does not exist. And actually, when you think you have a lock, you're probably going to lose that game. So don't use that word lock very often, right? We have ones that we absolutely love, right? But a lock, I don't know if this is a lock, right? Jake Luton is starting for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was a really competent quarterback last year at Oregon State, has 2 weeks to prepare for this game. the Jacksonville Jaguars play hard, right? They might not be very talented, but the Texans also just aren't really good this season. So I don't think this is a lock at all.
Yeah, I'm with you, Geoff. Early in the week, I liked Houston, and I bet them to win by 6.5 or more. Now it's at 7. And, Geoff, the audience knows the key numbers in the NFL that games land on over the last 20, 30 years are 3, 7, 10. You want to avoid the 7. If you can get 6.5, great. But I do want to add this about Jacksonville. And Luton is Pac-12 country, Geoff. You played in the Pac-12. I asked a couple people who covered the league, and they're like, is this guy any good? They're like, listen, he's got a big arm, okay? This guy's not terrible. And Houston secondary, we know, is terrible. Yes. So I don't feel confident about this bet, but I certainly would not call it a lock. All right, Geoff, let's get to question number 9, and it is courtesy of Robert C. Can Jonathan Taylor of the Colts get me 75 yards and a TD against the Ravens?
I would lean no here. Baltimore allows less than 1 rushing touchdown a game. Also, number 1 in rush defense in the NFL. I would not go to get both of these. I would say no. Yeah,
I mean, Geoff, the Colts, we don't know what they're doing from week to week, right? Offensively. They have 2 guys who have rushed for 75 yards this year. Last week, right, Wilkins came in out of nowhere, off the bye. They bring in this kid Wilkins. He blew up fantasy teams everywhere, and he has a big game. I don't know what Taylor's going to give you, frankly, and I would say no. That's not something I would wager on. Actually, people probably will see 75 yards, Geoff, right? I think, oh, come on, 75 yards. He can get that. No, pass on that. All right, next question. CMC is back. Does he come back and lead the Panthers to victory? Geoff, your brother plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. This game is all yours, buddy.
Yeah, Mitch is not playing today, unfortunately, but the Chiefs are still playing, and Pat Mahomes is still playing, and the rest of their offense is still playing, and their defense is really good as well. So I would say no here. I mean, something horrific has to happen to the Chiefs, right? I mean, they lost the game 40-32 this year when Derek Carr had maybe the best game he's ever had against the Chiefs in his career. I cannot see that happening this week. CMC is back. I get that, but there's a reason why that Chiefs are favored by 10.5 points. Chiefs are going to win this game.
Yeah, I mean, win outright Carolina. Come on. If you think that puts them on the money line, sprinkle a little bit on the money line for Carolina to win outright. I do believe that would be one of the biggest upsets of the season. Correct, Geoff? I mean, Carolina going into Arrowhead and winning. That'd be a stunner. All right, next question. Look at this time we're making. The staff bet the under on 60 questions, Geoff. We got to get this done. Jeff D asking, better chance to win the NFC least, Giants or Washington?
Better chance to win. I would go Washington just because I don't trust Daniel Jones. I just think he turns the ball over way too much. He makes terrible decisions with the ball. Their offensive line, I just don't trust them. I don't know if Kyle Allen's really any good with Washington, but I like Ron Rivera. I really like their defense. I'll go with Washington.
Yeah, I would lean Washington as well. The Giants' schedule is tough. The Washington Football Club does not play a team with a winning record until early December. So, hey, listen, they have a chance. We're going to get to this game later. I may tease it as a game I like a lot. I don't love it. It's definitely not a lock, but I definitely like Washington here, plus 400 with some good value. Question number 12. Let's hear it. Is this the year the Lions make the playoff again?
Look, I said before the season, there was one team in the NFL that would go from last to first. It would be the Lions, right? If you look at it just last season and you look at the quarterback, it was going to be the Lions, but it's not going to be the Lions, Jason. They're not going to do it. They keep disappointing, right? It's not going to happen this year. I wish it looked smarter and said they're going to make it, but they're not.
I am that bozo who put money on the Lions to win the division, and that's obviously shot. Yeah, that was dumb. I don't know what I was thinking. I like Matt Stafford. I've got a soft spot for him. By the way, he will play today.
Yes.
I know he had the COVID scare, but he will start today against the Vikings. And, it's tough for me to make an argument for the Lions getting in. Here's a fun number, Geoff. The Lions have scored first in every game this season. So Matt Patricia, great at the outset, great game plan. And then after that, it all falls apart. Disaster. All right, question 13. Lucky number 13 from Patrick. Who gets to 10 points first, Seattle or Buffalo? And we have Dr. Matt here chiming in with a big injury report on Seattle.
Seattle Seahawks safety Jamal Adams has been out of the NFL lineup since week 4 with a groin injury and then most recently an illness. Although we expect Jamal to play this weekend, his snap percentage or the amount of plays that he usually does per game, which averages around 70 to 80 snaps per game, we expect to be down at least 25 to 35% due to this persistent groin injury. Jamal?
Yeah, that's not great news for people who think Jamal Adams is going to come back and have a major impact. They're going to need him to stop Josh Allen on the run. Any thoughts on the question, Geoff? 10 points first, Seattle or Buffalo?
The answer is Seattle. Whenever there's a question about who's going to score points, the answer is always Seattle, right? We heard earlier from the doc about Josh Allen. We've talked about it, right? Teams have figured out how to play this offense, just sit in zone coverage. So give me Seattle here, who, by the way, get Carlos Dunlap to rush the passer. So I like Seattle to score 10 points first.
Now, the only reservation, obviously, Geoff, is there are favored here. If you think Seattle gets to 10 points first, you got to bet $133 to win 100. Personally, that's not my kind of bet. You know, Geoff, I think we both would agree there's far better wagers on the board than something like this. Again, a fluke turnover, a special teams play could lead to an early start. We both like Seattle here, but I don't know, Geoff. This is not a prop I'm running to the window to bet, right?
No, because to your point, it's a lot about value when we do this, and there's other places to get much better value than the minus 133 here. All
right, on to question 14. Geoff Schwartz. Survey says after my Titans lost to the Bengals, IDK. Look at the kids. They're using the lingo. I don't know how to feel about them this season. Any chance they cover against the Bears?
Look, here's the problem with this, in my opinion, is that I would lean Bears here very heavily, but I do not trust their offense at all. However, the Titans are 32nd in the NFL in third down defense, and they have proven over and over again they cannot stop anyone. And they're 2-5 against the spread so far this season because their defense can't hold a lead. And so I would go Bears here, plus a 6.5. It just feels like they can keep this game very close to about a field goal game and cover.
Yeah, I'm with you. I took the Bears early in the week. I will confess, I don't feel great about it because I got them at 6. The line's going the other way. That means more people are betting on Tennessee. My big thing, and you said the offense, is Nick Foles. Right? 4 of the last 5 games, he's faced a top 10 defense. And that means there's going to be pressure on the quarterback. There's good defensive backs. And the defensive coordinators are better than Foles is at quarterback. This week, as you said, this Tennessee defense is a joke. Yes. Joe Burrow, a rookie with like 5 games under his belt, just torched them. And I, too, had money on the idiotic Titans last week, and I'm so ticked off I did that. So now I'm wagering against them, and that's really not that smart. But let's move on to question number 15. Drake A., would you bet 100 bones on CMC to score 2 touchdowns? Now, Geoff, before we get to you, Christian McCaffrey coming off the high ankle sprain. Let's see what Dr. Matt has to say about Christian McCaffrey.
So the Panthers get their best player back this week. Christian McCaffrey, star running back, is back after being out since he injured his ankle in week 2. What Christian has is a high ankle sprain, but missing 6 weeks is pretty notable, not only for the level of this ankle sprain affected him, but also in recovery time. When he comes back this weekend to play, we can expect from our data a 10 to 15% decline in productivity. Christian, it's great to see you back on the NFL field.
I should add, Geoff, Dr. Matt P. did work with the Patriots, so he's got Belichick on speed dial. Doesn't really apply to this game. Just thought I'd throw that fact out there into the ether. Any thoughts? $100 on McCaffrey to score twice.
What are my odds here? That's a big part of this. I would say no here just because I think Kansas City will focus a lot of their attention on Christian McCaffrey. Now, their linebackers, though, is not what they do well in defense, right? So maybe Honey Badger follows him around the field. I would just lean under here.
Yeah, interesting. Chris Jones, the best defensive lineman for the Chiefs, out on the COVID list. And it sounds like the Panthers offense is going to work Mike Davis in a lot. It's not like he's just going to play third downs because you don't want to burn out McCaffrey, right? They gave the guy $64 million in April. You don't want a second high ankle sprain. Remember, Jimmy G, I think, had the same high ankle sprain, and he tried to come back, and it just didn't go well. So not a bet I would be willing to make on Christian McCaffrey. Next question. Who wins The dumpster fire between New York and Washington. Geoff, I think we're on different sides here. You're up first.
I don't think we are. I like Washington here.
Okay.
You look at the Giants off an emotional loss on Monday Night Football. Again, a game they could not finish, right? It comes down to Daniel Jones not being able to finish plays. Now, Ron Rivera has not been great off a bye. He was obviously the Panthers coach before he came to Washington. But I think Washington's team refreshed, feeling like they can actually win this division, right? Eagles aren't very good. Cowboys not very good, obviously. I think Washington wins this game. I'd bet that.
Interesting. I'm with you. I like Washington. Now, I don't love 3 because, again, should Kyle Allen be favored to win any game by 3 points? But a fun note on Daniel Jones from our great Fox research staff. Shout out to them. Daniel Jones is 3-0 against Washington. Geoff Schwartz, would you believe Daniel Jones is 1-16 against everyone else in the league? I mean, for whatever reason, he's been killing Washington. He didn't really kill them earlier this year. He had one nice run, and they held on for victory. But, again, I don't factor that stat into my gambling analysis. That's just a fun stat that you can relate to. I like Washington here, Geoff. I'm with you. On to question 17. Does David Johnson of the Houston Texans run for 100-plus yards against this Jags defense? And, Geoff, we have a special guest here checking in with a weather report due to the big storm in Florida.
Let's take a look at the weather in Jacksonville as Deshaun Watson and the Texans visit the Jags in Week 9. It's going to be a breezy day in Florida. Sustained winds at 15 to 20 miles per hour with gusts up to 30. And showers are going to be possible throughout the afternoon at a 30% chance. And as for temperatures, it's going to be warm, those highs in the low 80s. So with that being said, the chance for rain and wind, it might be less than ideal conditions for that game in Jacksonville.
Great stuff, Allison. It's actually better weather in Jacksonville today than out here in L.A. I know. And so, by the way, somebody asked on text message to me, are those pineapples on your shirt? Yes, they are. All right, let's get back to David Johnson. Geoff Schwartz, your thoughts on DJ going for, I don't know, a bunch of yards?
Well, if the prop here that Fox Bet is setting is 73.5, then if you're asking for 100 yards, I would say under, right? If they project him to be right at 73.5, the bet to make is under, right? Jacksonville, not great against the run, 28th against the run, but still, I lean under here just because of that number Fox Bet put up there.
Yeah, I'm with you. Again, this guy hasn't had a big game really since November 2018. Going back, he's had the injuries, and this feels like a shootout, high total, right? So it's going to be a lot of throwing. So there's better stuff on the board than forcing a David Johnson prop onto my gambling card. Yes. All right, on to question 18. Geoff, by the way, we're on pace for over 40 questions. We're doing great. Think the Colts upset the Ravens from Max W.
Well, the Colts are now 2-point favorites, so it wouldn't be an upset if they won this game. Look, I know you like him, Jason, but Phillip Rivers, I have a hard time betting against Phillip Rivers. Betting for Phillip Rivers. There's something about me. I've watched enough AFC West over my life. I get it. You like him here, but Phillip Rivers against that blitzing defense, man, worries the heck out of me.
I still don't trust Lamar Jackson. Geoff, when he was the MVP last year, 65% completions. He's down to 60% completions this year. Nate Silver was more accurate with the election this past week than Lamar Jackson, okay? Somebody joked to me on Twitter, Lamar Jackson's stock is falling so bad we should call him Skype, okay? Lamar Jackson is cratering. He does not look like a star anymore. I think the Colts bottle him up. Let's move on to question 19 because Geoff can't stop laughing. Richard S. Need a big day from Julio Jones. Does he go for over 100 again? Oh, and a TD again this week. They are playing Denver.
I think it's hard when you group these together, right? When you say yards and a touchdown, because you can get obviously a lot of yards and not a touchdown, or a touchdown and not a lot of yards. I would lean to under here just because, again, grouping them together makes it much tougher to win that bet. It's typically a lot of money you can win on that bet, right? The value is good there, but the Broncos are pretty good on defense. They can stop the pass and stop the run and whatnot. I just think that I would lean under here on this bet.
Okay, finally, it took 24 minutes. We're on a different side. Calvin Ridley of the Falcons has been ruled out. He's not playing today, okay? So he usually operates out of the slot, sometimes wide. His matchup was going to be Bryce Callahan, who, according to Pro Football Focus, is the second highest rated cornerback in the league. But, Geoff, the problem is he's 5'9". And going up in the red zone against Julio Jones, who's 6'3", Julio's going to eat. He's just going to catch whatever he wants. So I actually do like this prop. You guys can tell I'm not a huge prop guy during the NFL regular season, but I do believe this Julio Jones prop looks pretty good. Denver's other two cornerbacks after Bryce Callahan are rated in the 90s, according to Pro Football Focus. They're not very good in coverage. So I would lean toward Julio in this one. Good luck with your bet. Question 20, the 1/3 mark, Geoff. Here we go. Will Russell Wilson throw for over 3 bills and secure a victory for my Seahawks? I think the editor of FoxSports.com sent that in. He's a big Seahawks guy.
If you cannot tell, I am very high on the Seahawks today. I would go over here. Of course, I'll throw 300 yards and win this game. I know Buffalo's only allowed 2 guys in over 300 yards. Irrelevant in this game. The weather's going to be good in Buffalo. Again, Seattle is really good in this early time slot. 10-1 in their last 11 games playing at 10 Pacific. So I love Seattle in this game. I think Russell Wilson throws the ball over the field.
Yeah, again, this is a Fox Bet special. You know, Russell Wilson, if he does some big things, you can win a lot of money on Fox Bet. I guess, Geoff, my only question, going back to too good to be true, okay? They've had 3 games this year where they scored over 50 points total combined between both teams. And Russ was under 300. I don't remember all the 3 games, but you can look it up. And something feels too good to be true. Does it not? Like high total, sure. 55, highest total. That means the most points are expected to be scored in this game over any other game this weekend. But why is it only 300? Something feels like, I don't know, Russ scrambles a lot here. Maybe the 4th string running back, DJ Dallas, who's on my fantasy team, maybe he goes nuts. I don't know. I would be a little careful. It feels a little too good to be true. All right, next up. Question 21. Is it safe to bet Derrick Henry gets under 100 yards rushing?
I mean, it's never safe to bet anything. I might lean. Look, I have Ryan Tannehill under 237.5. I think Henry will kind of make up the slack in this offense. Remember, the Bears' rush defense is okay at times. Hicks, a little beat up. Their big old defensive tackle. I would lean over here slightly.
Yeah, Geoff, I have in my notes here. There's an old gambling adage that goes back to the Roman Empire. Life is too short to bet the under. Don't do it with Derrick Henry. On to question 22. Fire it up, Conrad. Let's see it. Is the Chiefs. Ooh, Geoff, your Chiefs again. The Chiefs covered 19.5 last weekend against my forlorn Jets. This is an easy cover against the lowly Panthers, right?
Nothing is ever easy in gambling. It never is easy. Everything you think is going to be easy is not. Nonetheless, I would definitely bet the Chiefs over the Panthers. So you might have to sweat this out at the end. Teddy Bridgewater is outstanding against the spread in his career. He covers a ton of football games. But in this game, I don't think he does.
Yeah, what do they call him? Teddy Covers? Is that his nickname?
I call him Teddy Covers, man. He's made me a lot of money the last 3 years.
Yeah, and again, it's tough to try to play armchair psychologist and get in the head of the Chiefs. But if you like to look ahead on the schedule, they have a bye week next week. Is Patrick Mahomes going to go away with his new fiance? I don't know if you're allowed to travel. Is he fine? Can he go to downtown Missouri? Can he go somewhere to have some fun? And then the week after that, they play the Raiders in a revenge spot. Do you think they're thinking about a different conference opponent here in Carolina? They don't really care.
No.
There's a chance for a letdown.
I'll just say this. The Chiefs are so good. They can have letdowns that we've seen many times this year, right? Starting very slow. And then the offense just clicks. It just turns on. They score 28 points in 20 minutes and the game gets out of hand fairly quickly. So that's why the Chiefs, the number keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger every week because they can just score at will. I mean, 35 points is easy for them.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Are the Broncos a dark horse to make the playoffs? Geoff, let me jump off the top rope on this one. No. Seriously, look at the schedule before you think about Lindsey R. Before you're thinking about making any, can they make the playoffs props here? Because they play a brutal schedule. After this week, their next 4 opponents all have a winning record. And again, we're dealing with Drew Lock here, okay? It's not John Elway. This is Drew Lock, who only eats against bad defenses. I don't like that bet at all.
I do not. I would not put any money on the Broncos making the playoffs. I know there's one extra playoff spot this year, right? From 6 to 7. But that spot will be taken by the Browns or the Raiders, or maybe the Chargers come on strong. I would not bet on the Broncos here.
All right, question 24, courtesy of Kyle D. Hollywood Brown, he plays for the Ravens, is not happy with his usage. Does he go off against the Colts? Now, Geoff, I don't know if we can show it because he deleted the tweet, but he really fired off after the loss last weekend. He was ticked off.
I would say under here. I know he's upset and Lamar might target him, but that's not really their offense, right? And we know that their offense does not throw outside the numbers very often. And you mentioned earlier how much you like the Colts, and part of that is their defense. Their defense will take away this option from Lamar. I would say no here. I don't think he force feeds him.
Yeah, I mean, the only chance is that he goes there early to try to get him loose and get him into the offense and happy. We've seen these diva receivers, right? Odell Beckham can check out if he doesn't get the ball early. I will note, Des Bryant is active, and he's going to play for the Ravens today. I don't know if that's like a, hey, man, we are desperate for offense. We need somebody. But, Geoff, if you look back last week, the Steelers really took away Mark Andrews and said, Lamar, try to beat us. Go to Hollywood. Go to Willie Snead or whatever. And I wonder if the Ravens said, you know what, we don't have the weapons. So Des Bryant's active. Hollywood Brown's unhappy. Good luck, Lamar. All right, let's get to question 25. Will the Steelers blow out the Will they blow out the Cowboys by at least 5 touchdowns, courtesy of Jerry M?
Well, the total in this game is like 44, right? Or like 42, somewhere around the low 40s. So that would have to be basically a 35-0 game, right? 42-0 game, I guess. In this, no. I mean, look, there's no. The Steelers are not good in this spot as a big road favorite, right? They're favored by over 2 touchdowns in this game. I would not put any money on that whatsoever.
Yeah, so Geoff, I started gambling in college, just for fun, and then I went to Vegas, and then I started gambling more, and it's fun. And I learned early, you cannot make money long-term betting on double-digit favorites. The numbers are against you. I know there will be a run, and the Steelers look tasty here. They're undefeated. The Cowboys haven't covered once this year, but just be careful, okay? Teams let down. We've seen the numbers. We said it on the Thursday show. Mike Tomlin, okay, when favored, on the road, 15-28 against the spread. He's great at getting his guys up for big games like the Ravens last week. But these not to call them garbage, these inferior opponents, if you will.
No, they're garbage.
It's an easy letdown spot. Okay, I'll let you go there. This is the Steelers' 3rd straight road game. Fatigue. Have you guys traveled 3 weeks in a row? It ain't fun. I know these guys are flying first class, but it's not fun. And you got to go play a football game? All right, I went too long there. Let's go on to question number 26. Will Big Ben surpass 300 yards against the Cowboys defense?
I would say no. He does not throw for a lot of passing yards in this game. And kind of the point I think we're all making here is that to beware from this game, this was very much like a ho-hum, like 24-10, right? That number, just kind of the Steelers just try to get this game over with as soon as possible. The Cowboys aren't any good. They just run the clock out in the 4th quarter. Like I stay away from this game as much as possible. I would not bet on this game whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, just don't do it, Just say no, kids. on to 27. Question 27. Who's your pick between now? This is a good one. Mario B. Yeah. Thank you, Mario. Chargers or Raiders? Now, there's been some line movement here this week, right, Geoff?
Yeah, so this line opened, right, as the Raiders were favored by 3, I believe, right? And it's gone all the way kind of back and forth here. Look, here's the deal with this game, in my opinion. We talked about this the other day, right? Is that the Chargers start really fast. So bet the Chargers for the first half and maybe bet the Raiders for the game, right? Because they just blow a lot of football games. I'm not sure I trust the Chargers to finish this football game, but I trust them to start very fast.
I'm with you. I made this Seinfeld joke. If you remember that episode where he went to the rental car agency and he got all upset because they didn't have his car. He said, you guys are great at taking reservations, but you're not good at holding them. Anthony Lynn, great at getting the lead, right? I mean, they've led 4 opponents by 17 or more.
Yes.
Terrible at holding the lead. They've just gag it away every week. I'm with you, Geoff. I love that. It's my favorite bet you've given out. Chargers first half, Raiders full game. Onward, Conrad, 28. If the Raiders win, are they a playoff team? Lou Williams checking in from, what's that wing joint in, I don't think I should bring that up. I'm sorry. Apologies. Go ahead, Geoff.
I would say yes. Yes. I'll go with a slight yes. Look, that extra playoff spot now changes a lot of things, right? Because you might get, 2 teams out of the AFC North, obviously Steelers and Ravens, and now you might get 2 or 3 out of the AFC West. So I would say yes. I track to yes because of that extra playoff spot this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. And remember, they now have a tiebreaker over the Browns, courtesy of that win. Geoff, listen, the Raiders are a boom-bust team. Don't they feel like it? Like, they could go out and beat the Chiefs. They could go out and beat the Saints. And then the next week they can look like total garbage. And
Yes, because
we
their
keep throwing
defense
around we keep throwing around garbage. I feel bad because these are professional athletes. But Trent Brown is a big loss on the offensive line. He's on the COVID list. The defense, though, you're right. They're just hemorrhaging yards and points every game. I do believe, yes, they can sneak into that playoff spot. As you said, it's between pretty much the Browns, the Dolphins. I hate to say this, but I'm not totally counting the Patriots out yet. They're basically down, and it's a 9 count. And they're staggering to get to their feet, and you're going to give them the benefit of the doubt to keep going because they've got Bill Belichick. But, yeah, I think the Raiders could be a playoff team this year. 29. Can the Dolphins win the AFC East? Ooh, that's a good question.
And there's good odds on this. There's some good value on this. I would say, yes, they can. They're going to lose today. I've been very firm on my belief that the Cardinals will win this game today. But, yes, they can. You need to see a little bit more from Tua, okay? Last weekend was a game where the defense is playing really great. They had 2 scores, essentially. Special teams had a touchdown. Tua just did enough to get by, right? 93 passing yards. But here's why I like the Dolphins. They're outstandingly coached, right? Brian Flores is doing a great job there. They play hard on defense. They get after it. We got to see a little more from Tua for me to feel great about this bet. But, yes, they can win the division.
So they're plus 550 to win the division. Now, I do believe there's really good value there. And if you like it, you want to put $100 on it to win 550 at the end of the season. I don't think that's a terrible idea. Here's why. So if the Bills lose to Seattle today, right? And we both think that's going to happen. And Miami wins in Arizona. I think they win. You don't. This is all of a sudden a super tight race. And according to the folks who analyze the schedules and look at wins and losses, the Miami Dolphins have the easiest remaining schedule in the NFL. Now, again, there is some question about can Tua pull this off?
Yeah.
We'll see. We don't know. It's not enough of a sample size. But if you're telling me plus 550 Miami to win the AFC East, I got to go out and grab that right now. According to producer in my ear says that is at Fox Bet. Run and hit it. Next question. Hashtag talk the line. I forgot. Yeah. Use the hashtag, guys. Talk the line. You know, you got to do that. Okay. Herbert or Watson? Who are you starting?
I assume this is a fantasy question. I would
probably
say I think we have to see if Keenan Allen's going to play, but Watson's playing the early game. Give me Watson today against Jacksonville.
Yeah, this is a tough one because they're both playing really bad pass defenses. We haven't seen that Deshaun Watson goes crazy game, right? Where he just totally goes off.
No,
we have seen some good Herbert games this year, but we've also seen him stumble. Remember that Carolina performance. He is a rookie. I think you got to go with the proven entity, and that's Deshaun Watson. That's who I would start. I'm glad we got some fantasy watchers, Geoff. I'm a big fantasy guy myself. Next question. Will the Saints and Bucks score under 60 points combined? Huh.
Good question. I know there's a little bit of weather, right, in Florida today. Look, I know you mentioned that life's too short to bet the under, but I like betting unders, especially when everyone thinks everyone's going to score a bunch of points. So I would lean under here. You're almost always going to hear me say under on a total. I would think the under is probably the play here just because everyone expects them to score. Again, we talked about the public money. When everyone expects someone to score a bunch of points or win the game, often the smart bet, I know it's hard to bet sometimes that way, is take the opposite of what the public is giving you. So I would take the under here.
And Geoff mentioned the weather. We have a weather report from Tampa and New Orleans tonight.
Drew Brees and Tom Brady go head-to-head in Tampa Bay tonight on Sunday Night Football. The weather is looking very windy, all due to a tropical system Ada brewing just to the south. Now, this is going to cause breezy conditions all evening, 15 to 20 mile-per-hour winds with gusts more than 30. And there's also a chance for some shower and thunderstorm activity, as you can see. So the two future Hall of Famers might have to rely a little more on their run game on Sunday night.
All right, so this is interesting, Geoff. Listening to that weather report, right? 30-mile-an-hour winds. Now, I don't know what it's going to be in the stadium. Just remember, folks, when you check the weather, don't just plug in Tampa Bay and what's the weather going to be. Try and see if you can get the stadium forecast because inside the stadium, it can be a little different given the, science and the build. That's a bad explanation, but just look for the weather inside the stadium and the winds. So, Geoff, we've got two basically the 40-plus-year-old quarterbacks here, the oldest in the league. This has a similar feel to the presidential election. Just two old guys going at it. I actually believe we've seen Drew Brees struggle to go deep. I believe the number is he only has 6 completed passes over 20 yards this season in the air, not the dink and dunk to Kamara stuff. So if there's wind, and Drew's already not going deep. That's going to hurt. I don't care that Thomas and Sanders are back. Like, we've seen these Tampa corners sit on the routes. Yeah. We've seen them get the pick sixes. This is a ferocious pass rush. Geoff, I think this is a Tampa side here.
It's worth pointing out that when there's weather concerns, the wetness is not as big of a concern as the wind. Or if you talk to any quarterback, the wind is a concern, right? The wind knocks the ball down and moves the ball side to side, especially as you get older, right? Drew Brees, not as strong. Tom Brady really can't throw outside the numbers anymore as well. So wind is the factor when you're looking at weather, and wind would lead me to believe, obviously, the passing numbers are down, the scoring is down, and the run game is more important for both teams.
All right, we have a update on Drew Brees, who was nursing a bit of a shoulder issue this week, from Dr. Matt P.
Well, there's some news out of New Orleans. Saints quarterback Drew Brees was a limited participant on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday in practice due to what is described as a nagging shoulder injury. Now, Drew had surgery in 2006 to his labrum, and although he's done outstanding and recovered very well, this injury may be catching up to him. Although we expect only a very small decline, if any, in Drew's overall performance, we will be watching for this at the end of the game when the shoulder becomes a little bit more fatigued and the muscles have to kick in to keep that shoulder stabilized and working really well. Drew, good luck on Sunday.
He's old, guys. Geoff, we know how it feels once you get old. Yes. Okay. All right, let's get to the next question. 32. We're motoring down the road here. 32. Bucks or Saints? I'll just quickly say this. One of the things that's helped me most in my handicapping gambling this year has been looking at the trenches and how teams pressure the quarterback and how much they blitz. If you can rattle the opposing quarterback, you're going to have a good chance. What do the Bucks do better than anybody? Folks, they are number 2 in the league in blitz percentage. They are number 2 in pressure rate. They are getting to the quarterback. They're getting and harassing the quarterback under duress. How's Drew Brees going to handle it? He's one of these guys who's like 6 feet tall. If you get pressure up the middle, it's really going to rattle him. Yeah. That's kind of a narrative that's been out there for years. Again, I don't think the Saints defense has played to the level we thought it would be. They were great last year. For me, this is Tampa Bay or pass on this game.
It's Tampa Bay for me, and mostly because of their offense. If you've seen throughout the year, when they have a kind of a so-so game, the next week they score a ton of points. By the way, I'm not worried about the Saints and the Tampa Bay pressure. Their offensive line's fantastic. They can handle all that. To me, this bet is being made, and I like the Saints as well. I mean, the Buccaneers, I should say, because the Bucs offense can play really well today. They're going to put up somewhere in the 30-point range.
Now, we haven't, Geoff, talked about the addition of Antonio Brown. I mean, Tom Brady's loading up on weapons, is he not? Antonio Brown joins the team. Chris Godwin is back this week. We've seen Gronkowski, after taking a year off, really come into his own with a touchdown 3 straight weeks. Look at this bet on the screen. Antonio Brown to score a touchdown, plus 162. Do you not think Tom Brady's going to force feed his guy, get him happy?
Yes.
He's living with Antonio Brown, right? I mean, they're like buddies. Like, he got him on the team. This feels like a pretty good bet here. Let's go. Geoff, your thoughts real quick.
Yes, take it. Yes.
Definitely. Antonio Brown?
Yes, all the things you said are, okay. I'm with you.
So now he's been out of the league for a little bit. We've got Dr. P with some thoughts on Antonio Brown.
Well, it's an embarrassment of riches. Tom Brady has another elite wide receiver to pass to. Antonio Brown is going to make his NFL 2020 debut on Sunday, playing for the Buccaneers against the Saints. Well, is Antonio Brown in shape? And is being in football shape a real thing? Well, I can tell you from our data that a free agent who comes in the middle of the season, even an experienced veteran like Antonio Brown, still has to get in football shape. It's conditioning, it's muscle memory, it's fast twitch fibers, and it's being able to integrate highly into this high-powered offense. I expect Antonio's productivity to be less than his usual numbers, approximately 20 to 30% decline as he integrates and gets himself into football shape. Antonio, good luck in your 2020 debut. It's good to see you back on the football field.
That's good stuff from Dr. P. All right, next question. Is the Pats versus Jets game a trap, according to Jerome? Is that Jerome Boger, the NFL referee? That's a joke. Jeff, fire away.
As the Jets fan, I want you to go with this one. As the Jets fan.
No. If anything, it's a walkover. This was, I believe, 7.5. Yes. And then yesterday they announced that Sam Darnold's not going to start. It's after Jets. Like maybe they want to tank, Jeff. I don't know. Maybe they really want to ensure they get Trevor Lawrence. So it's going to be Joe Flacco. And he started 2 games, folks. They scored 10 points against the Cardinals. They looked inept in every way, shape, and form. And then they played Joe Flacco against the Miami Dolphins. And they scored 0. This is a layup, folks. I took it. I would take it up any number under the 10. I'm taking it.
I mean, look, it makes a lot of sense here, right? New England, they kind of got their soul broken in Buffalo, I feel like. I mean, they were so close to having that mystique back, right? And Cam Newton gets stripped by defensive linemen not wearing any gloves and an elbow brace. It just feels like the mystique ended in Buffalo this weekend. It's last week, I should say. They're going to beat the Jets, but it could be a really ugly game.
Yeah. I just want to add, this is a Patriots team, folks. Beat the Dolphins in the opener. They beat the Raiders. If you're like a middling team, the Patriots are going to beat you. The Bills are a pretty good team, right? So they lost and it was close. But the Jets are a terrible team in every facet, and the Patriots should steamroll them. Next question. Does Cam Newton score a rushing TD? Jeff, how much money would you like to put on that?
Let's put $100 on it. I think that, look, their offense is very oriented to Cam Newton, right? They don't really pass the ball very well. And so I would say yes here because their offense is focused on Cam Newton. Plus, when they get especially closer to the end zone, in the red zone, right, the 20 to the goal line, they love to run Cam Newton. It allows them to have an extra blocker on the field, having that back block for Cam Newton. So I would say yes, he scores a touchdown, a rushing touchdown.
All right.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you. Just check the juice on that. You don't want to pay like $400 to win 100. Yes. Next question. Will the TB12 Sports and Drew Brees matchup tonight live up to the hype? Saints plus the points. # talk the line. Yeah, it's going to live up to the hype. This should be, Jeff, this is probably the best game since Steelers Ravens last week. I don't know what's better than this game this week.
I think it lives up to the hype just because no matter what happens in the game, we're going to have an opinion on Tom Brady more than anything else, right? If he plays well, it's, oh, wow, he's on his MVP path. If he plays terribly, it's like, look, he's declining in the middle of the season, right? And so I think the narratives from this game, no matter what the score is, will be very strong.
Yeah, I'm with you. Although looking at the board, Jeff, 6.5, Drew Brees getting no respect in the market. It's almost at the point where I want to come back on the other side and maybe get a middle. Jeff, do you want to explain what a middle is to the audience?
Yeah, so middle is when you have two sides of a game. So you have, let's say, the favorite at -3, but the line goes up to +6 for their team, and you kind of get in the middle of those. It's very hard to do. I've only done it once in my life. College basketball, March Madness, did it one time. I had like 8 points in between. It was fantastic.
But listen, for this one, if you bet the Bucks favored by 4 and this hits 7, then you take the Saints and the game ends 30-24. You just clean up. Like it's tough to, like you said, it's tough to do, but there's an opportunity if this hits 7 for sure. Next question. Tua and Kyler has me hyped. Who throws for more yards today? This is a really good game. I don't know who is into the young quarterbacks, but yeah. Jeff, we're getting, we just talked about the old folks. I almost said old farts, Brees and Brady. And now we've got the young pups, the next generation. Yes. I'm excited for this game.
So am I. I would go with Kyler here off a bye, just more rested, have better weapons on the edge, and just in an offense that suits him right now much better, right? Tua is in an offense that's really going to focus on making sure that he is safe, has easy throws. And Arizona's defense has gotten better throughout the year. Vance Joseph, their defense coordinator, has 2 weeks to prepare for Tua here. I would definitely go with the under. I go under with this. I go way under. The juice is heavy here at -143, right? I have to bet $143 to win 100. I would make that bet, actually. I think that's a really good bet.
I think a disagreement here. Remember, they're down their starting back, Gaskin, and their number 2, Breida. And the Cardinals are down their number 2 and number 3 cornerbacks, Murphy and Kirkpatrick. So if Tua's going to do anything, it's going to be through the air. I don't trust Jordan Howard. I wouldn't trust him to walk my dog. I think this is going to be Tua putting up some big stats here against a secondary that's beat up a little bit. And I think there's going to be a high-scoring game. I like Tua going over here. 37 onward. Question 37, not 37 passes. Should I take a chance on Dolphins +5? Yes. I like this. You don't.
Sure. I think Arizona wins this game by a touchdown. So I would say no. We're on this. I think the game that we're on the most opposite right now, and the public again is all over Arizona. So
yeah,
plus 5.5 is a good bet if you're looking to fade the public.
Yeah. So let's just explain that real quick. So the public all over Arizona. So let's say Fox Bet has 100 wagers. 90 of them are on Arizona.
Yes.
Well, guess what, guys? Fox Bet is a very lucrative organization. They make a lot of money. Okay. They have sports books all over the country. Okay.
Yes.
They're winning a lot. Do you want to be on their side or the side of Joe Public who's betting on Arizona? I think that's, and again, that's not the only analysis. I don't want people saying, right, well, automatically you take the other side. No, it's not automatic. You look at the numbers. The one thing I saw last week, Geoff, and I hit Miami for some good money last week, is the Flores defense. He trusts his cornerbacks. They're going to lock you up on the outside and go zero blitz. We're rushing everybody. No safety in the back. We trust Howard and Jones on the outside. Now, can Kyler Murray scoot around this pass rush? Jared Goff could not. Kyler Murray can. So I really like this matchup. If you're into the X's and O's and trying to get a little smarter, watch this game closely. Flores is a master defensively, and we know Kingsbury's a great offensive coach. All right, question 38. No, we're going to picks. Oh, let's go to picks. Okay. So, picks. Geoff, this is the time of the program where we advise everybody, hey, this is where we have bet real hard-earned after-tax dollars, okay? Geoff, I will let you go first. That's a lot of favorites, buddy.
I know. Whoa. It's a lot of favorites. It's a lot of public, but I've loved Seattle all week. I like Arizona for the reasons that I've mentioned. I don't think Tua played that well last week, and I don't think he's going to play that well this week as well because Vance Joseph will get after him. You mentioned the zero pressure, by the way, when the Dolphins blitz Murray. If they miss Murray, Murray scores a touchdown running the football. So I look out for that, and I like Tampa in this game. Look, again, whenever their offense plays poorly this year, they score 20 points against the Bears. They come back and score 38 the next week. They score 19, come back and score 28, 29, 30 the next week. They played kind of bad against the Giants. They're going to come back this weekend and score a bunch of points.
So let me ask Geoff real quick. So Tampa, you got it at 5. When we lock in our picks, you got it at 5. It's now 6.5. If the viewers would say, Geoff, do you still like it at 6.5? Should I still bet it? 5 is kind of a dead number. We know, meaning the games do not end on 5. People don't win 30 to 25, given touchdowns, field goals, blah, blah, blah. Do you like it as much at 6.5?
Not really. That's a lot. That point kind of matters, right? So, because this is 30-24, you lose the bet, right? So I think that I would not do 6.5. You could get a very close middle here, right? You take the Saints at plus 6.5 and the game lands at 6 and you win both bets.
Yeah, it's risky, folks. 6.5, you're not getting the best number.
No.
And that's, there's a lot about gambling we can't explain in a 60-minute show with 60 questions. But you want to get the best number. Now, Seattle at 3, is that the best number? If it drops to 2.5, that's when I take my kids' college tuition and I say, boom, Russell Wilson, deliver for me, buddy. Yeah. But at 3, I don't make it as big of a bet. Because you're probably going to end up pushing here, right? If it's a close game. Seattle's not killing the Buffalo Bills in Buffalo. I have Washington at 3. I like it. I wish it was 2.5. And I think we saw it 2.5 earlier in the show because these lines are fluid. They're moving. I believe, the big guy who came up with the idea for this show said in this hour leading up to kickoff, like 90% of the wagers come in or something absurd like that. So you just got to make sure you get the best number. And again, Denver 4. This is 4.5 earlier today. Denver's an ugly dog, a dog with fleas, if you will.
Yes.
But this is a Atlanta defense. It stinks. And I think Drew Lock can have some success.
I'm with you there. I think that again, they're 3-0 this year, by the way, covering road dogs as well. And you mentioned how good they are as underdog because they play really good defense, right? And they do just enough offensively. Drew Lock at the end of games kind of runs around and makes enough plays. And look, guys, just don't bet on the Falcons. It's really bad business betting on the Falcons. So if you're taking any side here, it's the Broncos.
One more quick question on Seattle, Geoff. This is a Buffalo team that has beaten 3 teams with winning records this year. Seattle has just one such victory. Yeah. Are we overrating Seattle a little bit? No. Remember, the public's on them. They have one quality win. They barely beat the Patriots, who we've mocked all show. Again, you get so much information, you start to overthink it. I don't know. Am I just
I think
getting weird.
Look, think about this. They're a personal foul away, a really dumb personal foul, by the way, a very rare personal foul for jumping over the it's called a leverage penalty, right? When you jump over a lineman trying to block on a field goal, it's not allowed. And if your feet touch the guy, it's a penalty. It's a very odd penalty, but it's there nonetheless. If they don't commit that penalty, they win the game and they cover against Arizona. So one stupid penalty away from being undefeated this season and a really good win in the desert. So I think we got to look at certain plays like that throughout the season and kind of look at the big picture of a team.
That's a great point because so often these guys, games will come down to one game swinging play. Yeah. It'll swing the odds of the game, the outcome. Just one play, one fumble at the goal line, one interception in the end zone. And, that's why we try to bet on the good quarterbacks who make fewer mistakes. Yes. and I'm betting on Drew Lock today, so I don't know what I'm doing. All right, Geoff, it's that portion of the program where we are going into rapid fire. Okay. So we're going to try to get to 60 questions. I don't know if that's possible. Let's see the questions. Producer Conrad, how much money can I lose in the shortest amount of time? Geoff, that's all you, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I would go, you go underdog money line parlays. You just put all the underdogs together and you try to win a ton of money on one single bet. Those are rarely going to cash.
Yes. All right. Next question. Where would you rank Davante Adams among other receivers in the league? I will say he's top 3 route running. I don't know if there's anyone better. Geoff, he's elite, right?
I was going to say top 5. Yeah, top 5 is about right. Top 3. I'm good with that.
Odell Beckham is not in there, people. Question 40. Who is your top 5 teams right now? Geoff, fire.
All right. KC, Tampa, Pittsburgh, Seattle, and let's go with New Orleans.
Wow. Baltimore not even cracking your top 5. Wow.
Your offense is not good this year, and you think they're going to lose today. So this should be in the top 5.
I'm in agreement with your top 5. Next question. Which overs should be a lock for this weekend? Best straight bet.
I mean, there's again, lock is a tough word to use here. Best over. I don't have one on the top of my head. I don't like betting overs. They're not very profitable. The best straight bet, I guess. I mean, look, if you want to bet like $1,400 to win 100 on the Steelers, be my guest. But I mean, that's
don't do that.
The best straight bet, but that's a really silly bet to make.
Boy, so you just cost somebody a house payment and a mortgage because Garrett Gilbert is going to pull the ups. No, he's not. Best straight bet. I don't know. We both like Seattle, but so does the rest of the world. You know how that works out. Let's just move on. Question 43. Best straight bet from Sean M. I like the Colts. I like Colts first half. I like Washington first half. Ooh, I didn't get to drop this. The Giants played on Monday Night Football. Washington's off a bye. You get a short week short week New York Giants, extra time Washington. And again, the way these kids are beat up on the football field, these guys need their bodies. They need time to rest and rally. I think there's an small edge there for Washington.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Again, the heartbreak of the Giants lost Monday night, too, is really going to sting throughout the week. They're going to not be as mentally prepared, in my opinion, because that lingers in the locker room. So, I gave you the Steelers pick, I guess. I would go maybe a smaller money line play would be Seattle, would be Washington, would be Indy. Those are smaller money line plays.
Yeah, we're approaching the 2-minute warning here. A game I didn't really talk about betting that I actually kind of like, that Raiders game, folks. Derek Carr shreds zone defenses, okay? He has the 4th highest passer rating in the NFL this season against the zone. What do the Chargers do? They sit in a zone at the 7th most rate in the league. So Carr's going to drop back. Remember, no Bosa. He's got a concussion. And Carr can quickly diagnose the defense and pick it apart. I like the Raiders here. One of my best straight bets. Question 43. Which wide receiver has the best matchup versus the secondary this week?
I'll let you take this one. The numbers are right up your alley.
Yeah. Well, I mentioned the Julio Jones, Bryce Callahan in the red zone, 6'3" versus 5'9". There's something there. Otherwise, nothing immediately jumps out. Davante Adams, of course, played Thursday night. Michael Thomas coming off the injury. I don't know, Geoff. Anything else?
I can't think of one off the top of my head.
Yeah. All right, next question. Oh, we're getting 44 in. Should the Cowboys draft Trevor Lawrence? Stop it, Kelly. The Jets have Trevor Lawrence. But the Cowboys should definitely draft Justin Fields, right?
Whoever is the number 1 pick to draft Trevor Lawrence. Whoever's the number 2 pick to draft Justin Fields. Whoever the 3 picks to draft Penei Sewell. So I would go with.
Look at you pumping up an Oregon offensive lineman. Totally on brand for Geoff Schwartz. Love it.
Yeah, sure. If they get him, Get him.
By the way, Dak Prescott I know he's watching this because he loves to consume NFL content. That is a bad question, Kelly. Dak is going to be upset. All right, let's roll it. Come on, 45. Can we get in a 45th question? Is it called gambling if you win? Geoff.
It's called gambling if you do any of it. But yes, it's even better when you win. It feels good when you win. It feels great to rush.
We're not actually gambling, folks. We are winning. We don't call it gambling. Guys, it's time for the games. Hey, we got to 45 out of 60. Everybody enjoy the games. Geoff, how much fun was this?
It was a ton of fun. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy game
Jump
day.
in our Facebook group.